kind of.
Yeah, you kind of pissed me off with that answer because I said, "How do you make ice cream?" And then you were like, "Oh, it's pretty straightforward." Like, I don't know how the to make soda, but soda is a thing.
Bro,
okay? So I asked, "Do you put water and milk?"
It's like ice and cream, bro. It's called
I know
ice
I'm
cream.
an idiot, but
And then
goddamn,
you put some flavor in it, dog.
I just met you,
Right?
Tony.
That's
Too.
basically
Like,
it.
how do you like? What is the process of it all? Do you like make it in your garage? You put water and milk? Do you fucking use leche?
God,
like how?
dude.
Like what is like the ingredients of like making an ice cream?
And
like just a base ice cream as opposed to like putting all the toppings in it.
And that's the extra sauce. There is some secret sauce in there, but at the end of the day, it's milk, cream, sugar, and then Binders, yeah.
What's poppin'? It's your boy Moses, aka Nomo, chilling right here in the Lit Outlet Podcast. My very special co-host, Mr.
Def Jeff.
And we got two very special guests in the building. We got,
What's up, guys? It's Tony.
Hey, it's Anthony.
and we got
AKA Tony.
Tony and Tony in the building.
Tony.
And where are you guys from? What company are you guys from?
We're the MashUp ice cream company. We like to say we are foes turned friends turned founders of a company that's going to revolutionize what it means to be an ice cream company.
Oh, that's dope.
FFF over here.
Yeah, bro.
So where are you guys from? Where are you guys located?
Yeah, so I come from Downey, born and raised. Went to Downey High School. I did swim and water polo there. Never ever thought I would do ice cream as like the business, but always knew I wanted to do something, kind of like fun and scalable that we can grow, that I could grow. But yeah, Downey's where I come from. I love the city, great people, rich history, and it's a great place.
Mexican Beverly
I was
Hills.
gonna say that shit,
Sir.
dog. The Mexican Beverly Hills.
Is that what they call it?
They say
It
that
is what they
about
call
Downey and Whittier.
The Mexican Beverly Hills.
Yeah, because they got
Correct.
mansions. They got many mansions out there. Like
They
they
do
got
have nice-ass houses.
orange
Yeah.
estates and shit like that. I'm very familiar. Like I'm from Southgate, so like whenever we have money, we go to Downey. You know, we go to the mall or to go eat. Like that's where we go spend our money. But recently, in recent years, we have In and Out now. We got a Walmart and shit. So like we're moving up. To
Coming up.
You waiting on the canes?
we got a Canes.
Is that what they call it, Downey?
No, they call it Downey because
Or
people
like
are down.
laundry
you know?
places?
People just
It's a bunch of down ass fools, dog.
just a bunch
Down-ass
of
fools.
Exactly. People just be down.
A bunch of dryer sheets out here. Food Downey. What's up?
What about Tony one? Tony number one. Where you from?
Also, well,
Tony
I live in Bellflower. I also grew up in Downey. Went there for all of school. Played basketball. We met actually in an entrepreneurship class, and our first encounter was like pretty competitive. We had an assignment that we were supposed to do, and us and like the basketball kids all had our group, and him and his water polo friends had their group, and I feel like we didn't really take it seriously.
Yeah.
And we threw something together, and we thought it was really cool. And then they went after us, and you could tell they tried so hard, and they won.
Gay.
I'll interrupt in a second, but go ahead.
They won. It was like a contest kind of thing, and from there we were like, bro, like who are these people, So, but they had no idea. We thought it was like a one-sided beef. And fast forward a couple months, we had a different business competition, and we're done, and we were just hanging out talking. We're like, bro, these guys are pretty cool, actually.
In high school, you guys had an entrepreneurship class?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Shout out to
Damn, that's
Miss
sick.
Hernandez if she ever sees this.
It was really cool, actually.
Shout out.
One of our assignments was they gave everybody $50 in the class, and they took us to downtown LA, and they said buy whatever you want to buy and
To the
make
alleys? Sunny alleys?
Yeah, and make as much money off that $50 as you can.
Sick.
It was sick.
What'd
I
you
remember.
What'd you buy?
I bought like a big old sheet of earrings, and I sold them each for $5. I made like $40 maybe.
Did anyone just like take the $50 and fuck off?
They could have.
Some people,
They
some people
could've.
did. Just
I'm
bought
sure at
random
least a
shit.
couple
Yeah.
people had to. That's dope as hell how in high school you had the entrepreneurship class.
Just bought a bunch of fake Power Rangers and shit, like that dog that barks.
Wait, where'd you go? The alleys?
Santa Fe Alley.
Yeah, the alley.
Santi alleys. Never
It's
been
like
to
a
the
little.
alleys?
Nah.
It's like a swap meet, but in between the alleys and shit. It's a bunch of fake clothes, fake boombox speakers and shit.
That's
dope.
that's where I went to get my nephew's suit for his baptism.
In the alleys or whatever?
Oh, you
What
can
do
get
they
whatever
call
you
it?
need.
Yeah, just the alley.
The
That's
alleys.
what.
You
Yeah.
ever been to the alleys in downtown?
No.
Oh, I gotta take you, dog. That'll be a mission.
I'm white.
It's beautiful. It's
go to Target.
It's nothing but my beautiful brown brothers and sisters out there. You know what I'm saying?
I go to Target. That's
hey,
where I got the shirt today.
That's one of our goals, actually, to hopefully do so well that people start selling knockoff mashup in the alleys,
What do you think they will call it? Wash up?
Mash down.
Mash down.
Like that. Or a mashup with like an acento,
much down.
Mash up.
So speak a little bit about more like why ice cream and what is it about ice cream that like why do people love ice cream so much?
Yeah, so I think we kind of differ in the fact that he is not a sweet tooth at all. On the flip side, I am a huge sweet tooth. Like I got a tattoo of an ice cream cone like 3 years ago.
Sick.
It's my favorite food ever.
Unrelated to this?
Yeah, I got it was Friday the 13th, $20
I just
tattoo.
love Gucci Man.
I love ice cream more than he does.
You heard that, Gucci.
And yeah, but like I have pitched the idea of ice cream to him for years. Truth be told, like the idea was never really right, so he turned it down a lot. But I was living in Brooklyn. I came back last August, and I feel like we finally put the pieces together of what MashUp eventually became. I pitched it to him. He thought it was amazing, and we've been running with it ever since.
Okay.
So what's like the process of making ice cream?
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
it's pretty straightforward. I mean, at the end of the day, just mixing some shit up together and like it, pops out the other side as ice cream. It's, I mean, I think when it comes to like flavors, it's experimentation. Just find inspiration from different stuff that you've already seen out there, or, like Tony's had some influences because of his travel, or just some sweets and stuff that I see that I think might be, enjoyable. And yeah, just essentially mix some milk and cream together and a little bit of extra sauce, and then it turns into ice cream. And yeah, but we're pretty good at like thinking of an idea and then just doing it once and kind of nailing it on the head the first time, which is great because it just makes things a lot easier. And yeah, we both have like, sometimes, there's one flavor that one recipe that we try, and then like Tony has an idea about it, and then I'll have an idea. We both kind of like just kind of duke it out with different recipes, and whichever one tastes better is the one that wins, basically, But it's a creative process on both ends, but it's pretty simple at the end of the day. It's a lot of fun, just kind of.
Yeah, you kind of pissed me off with that answer because I said, how do you make ice cream? And then you were like, oh, it's pretty straightforward. Like, I don't know how the fuck to make soda, but soda is a thing.
Bro,
okay?
ice
So
cream-
I asked, do you put
ice cream-
water and milk
it's
and
like
have like a
ice
machine?
and cream, bro. It's called
I know
ice
I'm an
cream.
idiot, but
And then
goddamn.
you put some flavor in it, dog.
I just mentioned
Right?
Tony
That's
too.
basically
Like,
it.
how do you what is the process of it all? Do you like make it in your garage? You put water and semen, water and milk? Do you fucking use leche?
God,
like how?
dude.
Like what is like the ingredients of like making an ice cream?
And
like just a base ice cream as opposed to like putting all
Yeah.
the toppings in and shit.
And that's the extra sauce. There is some secret sauce in there, but at the end of the day, it's milk, cream, sugar, and then binders, yeah, emulsifiers, and then
Stupid.
flavors and stuff like that.
What is that shit called? Like
Xanthan gum.
Xanthan gum?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the science of ice cream.
Definitely not. I just asked this question twice.
We've created a base that doesn't require eggs, which honestly saves us a lot of time and effort.
And money.
But
Yeah.
the base itself, which consists of what he made, is pretty straightforward. And then I steal this from him all the time. He said once that he's always felt he was very artistically gifted. Sorry, creative.
He always messes it up.
My bad.
Creative.
It's,
Okay.
it's amazing though.
What has resonated for both of us is that we've considered ourselves creative individuals, but not artistically gifted. And so, like, never been a painter or drawer, whatever, singer, whatever. But ice cream has been a really great medium for us to really, investigate and explore that creativity and that side about us, because every flavor is going to be different, and it all has a different like kind of story, meaning behind it, or influence, or whatever, what might have you.
And then going back to, sorry to cut you off,
Go ahead.
what he said. So the base is it is what it is. And then from that point, it's like, how creative can we get and what we can add to it to like create a flavor, like a guava cheesecake, like a s'mores, like something inspired by Southeast Asia, even things from regions that we haven't personally been to, but we like try it somewhere, get inspired by it, and we're like, how can we incorporate that into the base we have and create like this really cool flavor that people haven't tried before?
To kind of further like jump back onto that, like more the process we have that base, right? And then you can kind of add things to it that would be the flavor. So like if you want to do strawberry, you'll add like a strawberry puree to it. But basically you just warm all that stuff up and then let it cool down. And then that's where the ice cream machine comes into. So we started off with these two little Buster Beater, ice cream machines that only did like 2 pints at a time. And the first week it was so crazy because we had like, I don't know, over 100 orders that we had to do with 2 at a time, taking 15 minutes each. It was crazy. But basically, yeah, you use the ice cream machine and then it turns it into the ice cream, and then you just got to freeze it pretty much.
That's dope. And so I've had a couple of the flavors already, and so like what I've seen just through your Instagram page or like talking to Tony, like each flavor has like a story behind it. So how did you guys come up with like that? Because that's dope as fuck, as opposed to just throwing out like cookies and cream or like a cookie dough or something like that. Each flavor has. So how'd you guys come up with like that concept to make it like that?
So that kind of goes back to when Tony had initially pitched the idea of ice cream. I was trying to think, and we were both kind of melting our brains trying to think about how do we make it different. People in a business class say you got to have a differentiating thing of your business to really make it its own thing. And we were thinking about what would be the best way to do it. And I think at the end of the day, what we decided on was, excuse me, creating something that essentially has, there's the ice cream, but the whole story part about ice cream. There's a lot of like ice cream places that are like, oh yeah, we tell a story this way or this way, like Ben and Jerry's and the Social in Brooklyn and different things. Like they always have the story aspect, but we really fell in love with like creating art inspired by the ice cream. And so like that's what we're really trying to do is create content that is on our socials, content that is entertainment. So like we've started to develop stories and they're going to grow to be more meaningful, but also influenced with ice cream. And that sort of touches upon like a whole like MCU mashup cinematic universe where we've got these different characters and they go through different challenges or build different relationships. And ice cream is always kind of somewhere in the background of that. Maybe we could talk about that more later down the line, but that's kind of that little, gist.
Just to go a little further, the name MashUp is twofold. It's quite literally like the mashing up of flavors and stuff. I like to say that there's no way that like us two people at small scale that we're at can make a really good vanilla ice cream as cheap as like some of the big players can make it. Mm-hmm. But if we're offering people something outside of that, selling them like nostalgia or fantasy or like adventure without having to go somewhere, then we really have value there. And we can provide a service for people where they can't really get, going to the grocery store and getting like a Neapolitan ice cream, And then on the flip side, literally MashUp is the mashing up of ideas, people, businesses, and that's where we really lean into the whole story in every scoop is we want to use this ice cream as a bridge to bring worlds together. And that's why for the most part, we collaborate with people completely outside of the food or ice cream space. Like we've done co-working spaces, we've done clothing, we're on the podcast now, we're looking into like musical acts, and we're really just trying to encourage people to try new things. And if the way we can do that is through like a really good ice cream, then I feel like we've done our job.
So one thing I don't like after everything you guys just said is people coming on this podcast and just lying to our fucking faces, because you guys said that you guys are not artistically creative at all. And that whole story of just the behind the scenes of how you guys made it, that's artistic as fuck. Like you guys just literally just gave a whole TED talk about how you guys love making the ice cream and the story behind it and everything. And it's not just ice cream. So you guys are artistic. Okay. I might be autistic, but you guys are artistic. All right. So don't say that no more.
Appreciate
don't say that.
that.
Don't sell yourself short, because that shit was fucking beautiful.
Thank you.
Like, it's not just ice cream. It's a way of life.
the fuck up.
I think so. We say that because people have their mediums.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're both in agreement that we can't draw or paint or sing or play instruments and stuff, but
you can make ice cream.
Exactly. Like we thought we had that creativity in us. We just hadn't before this found that outlet for it, and we finally did. So like, yeah, we're artistic, we're creative, but it just took a little while to figure out with what, and now we found it
to go down.
I like that because a lot of people, I feel the same way too. Like maybe I can't play music, I try music, whatever, but like you can be creative in many different ways, right? Like the podcast or starting a business, but I love the business part of the outlet or making the content a little bit more than actually making the content, right? But what is it between you guys personality wise that works well? Like this mashup of friendships and business partners, like who...
See what you did there? The
You like that, huh? The outlet and the mashup, like that. But what personality blends? Like, what's the yin and yang about you guys' relationship?
It's pretty dang yin and yang because I consider myself like pretty introvert and like we both have that business mindset of like what we think can work, and we just have that like intuition just from our upbringing. Or both our families, immigrant families, build their own businesses and whatnot, but. Like me, like I'm type A personality where I'm very like, I try to be as organized as I can. I need to have every damn detail thought about beforehand, picked out this and that. And I'm very like, what's the word? Obtuse about everything that I need to do and get it all done in a very right specific way. So little like detailed freak, but I also try to balance that with my creativity, and I think Tony complements that aspect of who I am with being more like free, and he can speak to himself about that. But after
That
he
was
takes his beer.
That was your cue to
That's
speak
cue,
about
yeah.
that.
As
soon as
Yeah,
I
I think
grabbed
that
the
was your
drink.
cue.
He's like, is he looking at me? Is he looking at me?
No.
I mean, to put it very simply, I feel like I've talked to you about this at work, but I think I mean, and maybe to a fault, I like to think of myself as like, this is the big picture. This is like the end goal I know I want to get to. But a lot of times I do have a tendency to kind of get lost in those small details. So having someone like him that is very like hyper fixated on those details, I feel like I don't have to reel myself in because I know I have a partner that can like help get me to that goal and that vision that I see.
And same thing for me. Like when I get too laser focused on something, like he'll tap me on the shoulder, like, dude, like, okay, it's not that serious. You don't have to think too hard about that. You know, like we're very much in balance with each other, and like we hold each other accountable, but also let each other know, like, dude, you got to chill out, like, or do it this way.
Would you
know?
kind of think like you're kind of like a perfectionist in a way, where you kind of like your own demise is like, I want it to be so perfect to the point where like you just won't put it out or you just won't do it unless everything's perfect the way you want it to be?
To some extent, yeah. I mean, I definitely, the majority of my personality leans in that direction, but I feel like I've developed more recently an awareness of like, okay, like don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and I give thanks to Tony because of that. Like a lot of I've always grown up like that. I've just always been like, I was walking around with a stick up my ass all the time. But like one of my best friends, Preston, he taught me how to have fun. I always like to say, like he really taught me how to have fun and loosen up. And Tony's the same way with me. Like he really just, you know, reminds me, this is life. Like you gotta enjoy it too. You can't just be working your ass off all the time.
You only get one, so
Yeah, exactly.
you might as well have fun with it while you can.
100%.
You guys mentioned, or I think you mentioned that you guys both have immigrant parents, right? And I have immigrant parents too. Talk about how that influences like every decision when it comes to like starting your own business, because my dad also has a small business. Like he's been selling hats for like 25 years it used to be out of the trunk of his car, but now he bought like an old used U-Haul van and he filled it up, put racks in it. And we're known for that. Like my family's known for selling hats, and I tried to, he's mad as hell because I don't want to take over the business and sell hats too. But I feel like every part of me because he's my dad, right? I kind of learned a lot of things as far as like how to treat customers or like how to treat the people who watch and how to kind of run a small business. But what I don't like about my dad personally is that he's very like scared to take that next leap to like go open a real store and not sell behind at a random park, and he keeps his prices low because he feels sorry for the people who come to him, because the reason why they buy from him is because they can't afford a regular price hat at Lids or Cap City or whatever. But do you guys mirror or take in mind like the values that your parents have taught you as immigrants and as small business owners?
100%. What I would say about my dad is he's also my biggest inspiration personally. He came here when he was like 18, 19, out of necessity, like a lot of other immigrants.
Where'd he come from?
Colombia.
Okay.
And he had a bunch of odd jobs. He used to, back in the day, people would have their milk delivered in the mornings. He used to be a milkman.
Sick.
He did a couple odd jobs and then eventually became a branch manager at a Bank of America.
Whoa, that's a big shift.
And he said that they were working him so hard and like the lifestyle was rough that he was like, if I'm gonna be working this hard, I should be doing it for myself. And at that time he was a little more established and he left and he started his own business. He has 4 brothers here that also started their own business. So I mean, similar to Anthony, I grew up just around business owners, people that came here out of necessity but also took that risk and bet on themselves. And I feel like that's what we're doing with MashUp. Like I spent however much $1,000 going to school. I have a master's degree, and like I decided not to get a safe job, so I could start and build something new. And I feel like he can talk a little bit more about that as well, because I feel like he shares that same mentality.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, probably like a lot of your viewers like have come from like families of immigrants or like first generation. It's like, I think the struggle of being that first generation is understanding where your parents came from and listen to the stories they have of, we went through war, we went through this discrimination and all these different challenges to try and get to America, and just completely built up something so big for themselves. And big doesn't mean like have a multi-million-dollar company, but big means establish a life in America that will support your kids. Yeah. And I think the struggle for a lot of first-gen kids is like, well, I never had to go through all that struggle. Like, so I got to take it like to the next 10. Yeah, I got to 10x that, or like, 50x it, just to do right by my parents, kind of a thing. And I think we share that. But like personally myself, excuse me, my dad came he came from Egypt, right around the same age as Tony's father, about 17, 18, and my mom immigrated from Honduras. And my dad helped his cousin build up like a mattress manufacturing facility in Montebello, Commerce area. And he did food truck, anything he could do to get some work, and then they eventually built it into like a multi-million-dollar business. And I saw how hard he worked and how he to this day, like just 5 years ago, he's like 60 something now. He barely learned how to read. And so like he did all that without knowing how to read and not knowing the language, straight up, and crazy. Like he learned, obviously coming from Egypt, he knows Arabic, but he learned English and he knows Spanish. So like just that mentality is like just a killer mentality, and it's good to have and see that in your history and your family. But it's definitely influenced, I think, myself, because you just want to be better, and that's why I take that mentality of just man up, buck up, because my parents could do it. Like I got to 10x it, So it's it's kind of a bad mentality I have, but it's also good because you got to realize like all the sacrifice your family made for you, you got to do something in return for them. That's your obligation as a son.
And I just feel like too they talk about like the American dream, come out here, do all this shit and all that, but like they say the American dream, but that like immigrant work ethic in a way, because if you're born in America, you're fucking lazy for the most part. You're gonna be lazy as shit. But like the people that came here with those hopes and dreams of that are just fucking working because they have nothing, but they have everything to prove. You know what I mean? So like I respect and love that shit. Like both my parents were born here, so that's why I'm lazy as fuck. But like on top of that, like I love that shit and I respect it. But so how long have you guys been doing like the mashup? Like how long have you guys been making the ice cream and everything for?
Well, I remember, so we always knew that we wanted to do something together, and I went to New Jersey for college, and I would come home every summer, and we would try to spitball ideas like we did safety,
What'd you go to school
and
for?
stuff.
Because you say you had a master's.
Marketing.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
MashUp.
Perfect.
And I remember maybe like 2018, we bought like a bootleg little ice cream machine, and we pitched the idea of ice cream, but again, like at the time it wasn't right. So I would say since 2018-ish, like I've had that idea in my head that I wanted to do ice cream. And then, after COVID, I moved back here from Brooklyn, and we just found this like unique spin on it that people weren't really doing, is like having, I mean, in a sense, without getting too convoluted, like an advertising company or like a TV station that instead of selling ad space, we sell pints of ice cream,
Yeah. And who the fuck doesn't like ice cream?
I've yet to meet someone.
Yeah, 100%.
That's just fire.
My dumb ass bought some. I was high as hell at the grocery store and bought some lactose-free ice cream, and that shit sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, even if I'm lactose intolerant or whatever, but like that shit sucked.
Do you guys make lactose or like allergy-free, like peanut-free or egg-free, milk-free, all that stuff?
Oh, all our ice cream is egg-free. We've been working on the dairy-free for a while, dude. It's hard. It's hard.
I can imagine.
What's hard about just the flavor?
It's not even that. I mean, it's a couple things. It's flavor, because a lot of the stuff that they use to substitute milk, like coconut milk or cashew milk, has that nutty flavor to it, which is kind of prevalent and strong. There's also the fact that because it's not like milk and it's not so fatty, that it has a high water content, so it makes it icy. And our ice cream is best character. Yeah, well, thank you for that. It's best characterized as like gelato because it's dense, it's creamy, and it has such rich flavor. So when and when you compare that to something like like a classic like Thrifties or sorbet, like it's completely different. So we try to make it, obviously it is a premium ice cream. It's not cheap, and it is artisanal, so a lot goes into it. But trying to achieve that creaminess, that denseness of flavor and jam pack it all, it's really difficult to do with like vegan or like basically vegan or non-dairy flavors, just because there's some different like challenges in terms of the chemistry of it, which I don't know anything about, but we just got to keep on trying and experimenting, really.
And it's obviously not impossible, people do it, but I feel like we care a lot about the product that we put out, so we're not just going to rush to put something out that's dairy-free just so we can get some sales. Like, we've been working on dairy-free for, like, over a month, and we haven't cracked it yet. And, I don't want to rush to put something out that I don't feel as confident about is one of our non-dairy flavors. You know what I mean?
And also, at the end of the day, if you're fucking vegan and you're trying to go from like a startup company, like, do you have vegan or dairy-free ice cream? Fuck you. Okay, you fucking vegans. Fuck you, vegans.
It's
I
cra-
say that.
Good. Don't eat ice cream then.
It's
Go
crazy.
somewhere else.
It's crazy because I saw this stat where like like everyone's always talking vegan or non-dairy or peanut allergy. The mass majority of the population is not vegan, so like you're not forced to make it. But I guess it is cool to have it. But most people don't give a fuck, right? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can see, I
As
don't
an
give a
option,
fuck.
but also just like I've seen on you guys like Instagram stories and everything, just being like, you guys what make it like in your garage or something?
No, so we do have a facility where we're making
Oh,
it,
okay.
like a commercial facility, and that's like we're very grateful. Like some of our family or our friends' family like owns a restaurant, and we just go there to like manufacture and supply the product out of there. We do a lot of experimentation at home because we're
Yeah.
not like selling it to anybody from there. But yeah, it's sorry, I don't even know
but
what question I'm asking.
I was just saying, just as far as that, like I just see like on your guys' Instagram and shit, like you guys have a lot of like customers, people that fuck with it, people that love it, and it's cool. And just as like a startup or whatever it is, you guys are working on like shit to reach the masses. Like you guys already have good business, you guys already have good customers, and like I said before, off mic too, like you guys have a good product.
Thank you.
And at the end of the day, like the product is what's good. You guys can put all the fucking masquerades and everything on it, but if the product sucks, the product sucks. But you guys have a really good product. The ice cream is delicious. I can tell you guys care about it. Like
I haven't tasted it yet. You already tasted it?
We'll taste it. We'll
try
taste
some.
it
We're
later.
gonna taste it right now. But you already
I've tasted it.
You
Yeah.
tasted it? Which flavors have you
Delicious.
tasted?
I tasted the birthday cake, and then I tasted the one they just gave us the cereal milk,
Okay.
the cinnamon toast crunch. Yeah, so I had the birthday cake one and ate that bitch the very first night. Opened the pint up.
I'm
took
excited,
a bite,
dog.
and I
I'm
was like,
excited.
"Oh, I'll save this for later." It didn't last till later.
But
That shit got eaten.
real quick, just to go back to the non-dairy and all that other stuff you talked about. I think our product is amazing. Like I in no way want to not provide a product for all those people because I truly want everybody to be able to have ice cream. And I think it just goes back to the fact that I don't want people to have a half-assed product. So I'm willing to perfect it the same way that we would perfect a normal flavor so that people with those allergies or other things like that still have the opportunity to have a product that I feel proud to provide, you know? So I do want to
Yeah.
give stuff to the masses.
100%.
I do want to give stuff to smaller groups and stuff. I just want to make sure that everyone around the board is having the top product that they can have.
But and that's why it's like really respectable, and people don't know it. But like you're going quality over quantity, because you could just put out some half-ass like dairy-free stuff or whatever, and like some people might like it, but like it wouldn't sit right with you guys. And like that's what's cool. When people don't understand that, but at the end of the day, it's like that's solid. It's a good business model. The fact that it's quality over quantity. Like no, we want to make sure anything we put out with the MashUp logo is like up, to your standards.
What was like that aha moment? Like, what flavor was it when you guys were like, okay, it's ready to be sold now? Like, there was probably lots of trials and tribulations of like it tasting not as great. But what do you guys remember the exact moment? Like, okay, it's ready to be sold.
I have an answer to that question that's not exactly an answer to that question.
Okay.
Going back to going back to how I was telling you that I had pitched ice cream to him a couple times. The idea just wasn't right yet, and I saw a video online of someone that had an ice cream machine at home and literally just like would go to the store like, this is a cool ice cream, like I'm gonna make a flavor out of it. And he chopped it up. His name is Crafty Witch. He's really cool. You should check him out. He posted a video of like the step-by-step, and he did everything in like a minute. Obviously, it was cut up and stuff, but as simple as he made it look, that was my aha moment where I was like, this is attainable, like there's a lot that goes into making ice cream, but if you see someone break it down in a way that you feel like you can emulate at home, like that was my personal aha moment. And as far as flavor wise, again, going back to the fact that he's not the biggest sweet tooth, I know I've personally made a flavor that is ready to be sold when I have him try it, and he's like, yes, this is great.
What flavor was it?
A little.
If you could say it, you don't have to say it yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few flavors like that.
But like, what was the first one you guys were like, all right, this is our first flavor we're gonna release?
The first one? Well, probably Little Havana and S'more by the Campfire.
You guys got some good stuff for us, right?
Yeah, we brought
So
the 3
kind.
flavors that are currently available on our website, mashupicecream.com. Check it out. Flavors rotate every week. We drop a new menu twice a month, so there's a level of scarcity there. So
I was about to ask, is it kind of like a shoe drop where like once you get it, you can never, and then maybe it never comes back?
Exclusivity.
A little bit of that, yeah. I mean, so just to clarify, it's the flavors, 2 flavors every other week, not every week for right now. So that might change up sometime in the future, but yeah, part of the whole concept is we want to create a little bit of that scarcity, but also like get you excited for like the whole next drop and whatnot. But this is what is currently on the menu. We got that pandan tres leches and cereal milk, which is like cinnamon toast crunch, and then horchata delight.
Okay, and then also like, how do you get your hands on it? Are you guys drop shipping? Are you delivering it yourself? Like, how does it get delivered?
It used to be, before we switched up our method, is we would open up pre-sales Monday to Thursday. People would DM us to place their orders, and then they would come pick it up from us Saturday. We're trying to like reduce resistance, so we actually just now this drop started offering delivery, and we just fully launched our sales on our website. Again, it's mashupicecream.com. Check it out.
Yeah.
So you can go on the website. We accept all forms of payment. You can place your orders, and then on Fridays we'll be delivering them to people.
Mm-hmm. And a little FY, like not everybody, unfortunately, will be able to get it just because the delivery range right now, since it's just us, we're doing about 15 miles from Downey. So if you're local to like Downey, Whittier, Santa Fe, Bellflower Gardens,
Parts of Long Beach too.
Yeah, parts, a little bit of Long Beach, a little bit of LA, like we could take it to you. So if you're in the area, just go to the website, try to add it to your cart. If it works, great. We'll be there on Friday for you.
So do you have it set then to like if they order it and they're outside of the delivery range, they can't?
Pretty much, yeah, for right now. But our goal in the future essentially is, and this will get, I guess turns into a whole discussion about like the longer term idea behind MashUp is like, Tony talks a lot about not wanting to be a traditional ice cream company and kind of, what's the word, reinventing
Innovate,
or just innovating and kind of disturbing the industry in a certain sense. Is like we don't ever really want to have a scoop shop where people can go because it's fairly limiting. And you spend $250,000-$500,000 on one spot and you're kind of just tied down there. So I'd much rather spend that kind of money once we, reach that level in developing an infrastructure that can reach people all across the country that will help us become more of a household name. And so, eventually what we want to be able to do is have kitchens throughout the country where the product is produced, ideally still small batch, so we maintain that quality, and then it's made, delivered to you like on Uber Eats or DoorDash, stuff like that.
That's dope.
And then eventually even just doing that where like you could buy directly on our website, we ship you like a whole box of them or something like that. And so that's the concept in terms of like long-term goals, wanting to reach everybody in the country and just direct to consumer type fashion or on-demand delivery.
I do Uber Eats sometimes, right? And then I get like this sushi order, and it's in Southgate. I'm like, there's no sushi, like, there's no real famous sushi place in Southgate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to go pick it up, it was inside of TGI Fridays, and I had to go to like the back to get it, and it was like sushi that wasn't even on the TGIF menu. And then someone ordered it through Uber Eats, and I was like, damn, this is fucking crazy. Like, there's a kitchen inside the kitchen. So it'll be kind of dope to have like your shit like at every McDonald's, and then any Uber Eats can get it. That'll be super hard.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Ghost kitchens. We've talked about that. Chuck E. Cheese did that for a minute during the pandemic. They opened up like a ghost kitchen inside Chuck E. Cheese and marketed it as a completely different pizza spot.
Oh, really?
It was called Pasquale's.
No
So
way.
like people would see Chuck E. Cheese and like, I don't want that. I'll try this new thing, but it was still Chuck E. Cheese. They got so much like pushback for it. It was genius though.
Fuck it.
All publicity is good publicity, right? Do you think Chuck E. Cheese really be like recycling the pizza slices?
I've actually seen like multiple conspiracy theory videos about that.
It's Chuck E. Cheese.
You're getting what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
dog.
It's good though. Really good pizza.
All right, I can't wait any longer. I gotta try it. Which one should we try first?
It's closest to you. This pandan tres leches, for those who are unfamiliar, it is a very common flavor in Southeast Asia. A good way to describe it is
It's
A lot of
green.
shiz.
It's that region's version of vanilla. It's a very complimentary flavor. It goes in a lot of other desserts. Pandan itself is a leaf. It's very coconutty, and we pair with some tres leches and some coconut flakes, so that flavor really shines through. And
The initial flavor is a little bit like pistachio.
Mm.
I'm getting a little pistachio, but definitely tres leches at the end. That's just good.
I'm just getting good.
Let me get. Don't eat this whole shit, damn.
But what I just realized, God damn, that's good. before we started filming. You guys put the ingredients on the label, on the lid. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, just to kind of give you like the main hitters, like of what's like in it. You know, like I'm holding here the horchata delight one. We got cinnamon, allspice, almonds, long grain white rice. You know,
That's
so
good, dog.
you get an idea of what's going on in there. The next one here is the horchata delight. So this was supposed to be a sort of like a flash sale type thing for Cinco de Mayo celebration. And, it was so popular that we just decided to keep it on the menu for this week. So this one is purely to Tony's credit, a flavor that he worked on himself and really nailed pretty much out the park the first go. It has that classic graininess to it that like traditional horchata in a drink has, as well as obviously all the nice, horchata flavor to it.
There's literal rice in there,
Why long grain? What does that bring to the table?
Well, have you ever like made your own horchata?
No, but I've seen it made. But personally, me make it? No, but I've seen someone make it before.
Yeah, so I think, again, going back to the whole creativity thing, I wanted to challenge myself. How can I make a flavor that's as close to what I'm trying to replicate as possible? And that's how you make horchata is, you break down the rice, you add the spices and things like that. And I kind of just tried to emulate that in the ice cream, and where that took me was like adding actual rice into it. And there's a level of graininess too,
Yeah, definitely.
that's by design. But I just wanted to mimic what it would be like to taste a really good horchata in ice cream. And also it's something like I don't think many people have had before. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to do is expose people to new shit.
See, and that's why you guys are the ice cream guys. Because to me, if I were to taste that without you saying there's like a graininess to it because of the rice, I would have just been like, oh, this shit's like icy. It was in the freezer a little too long.
Yeah, you would assume
Like
it
I
was
would
just
have just
icy.
tasted it.
You know what? It doesn't have that like, because sometimes I'm cheap and I believe in like Kirkland and great value. I'm pretty cheap. But sometimes I'll get like the great value ice cream and it has like that chemical taste to it. And this one doesn't have it. This one just tastes like natural and shit. It tastes really good.
Yeah,
That.
yeah, it's like and that's kind of goes back to like again like it's not a cheap thing and like Tony mentioned before, like we have no intention of trying to make like a basic flavor like as cheaply as possible. Like we want to be for people that love ice cream and that want to spend money on ice cream, or at least like open minded enough to try new things and take a risk. Like a lot of thought goes into the flavors, into the design, and you really get the full palette of it. You really get a rich, creamy, dense flavor. And this next one here is the cereal milk, which, little fun fact, was technically the first ice cream that we ever made was a Cinnamon Toast Crunch inspired ice cream. And we brought it back as like a little homage to ourselves, I guess, but also because it's pretty damn good.
Is it the same recipe or do you guys tweak it a little bit?
We tweaked it a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing. We add actual like Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal in there, and we used
It does have cereal in there.
Don't eat all those crunches.
Fuck you, Jeff is mine.
there's a lot in there. Don't worry about it. You'll get some.
You fat fuck. I'm taking that one home. I haven't even tried it yet.
And then there's also
Fuck.
so Cinnamon Toast, like the company, they make a spread like a butter spread out of out of the cereal, and so there's some of that in there too.
Damn, that one's fucking. That's my
There's
favorite.
a lot of Cinnamon Toast Crunch here.
That one's fucking good, dog.
Oh my god.
I could eat the whole thing. I ain't gonna cap, dog.
This is mine. Fuck you.
So good.
This one's mine. That's my friend.
Is there like is there a failed like blooper flavor down that you guys can't perfect that just
hell yeah.
bothers the shit out of you?
Not one that bothers the shit out of me.
I don't even look back, bro. Oh my god.
What the fuck?
So
Fuck you guys. This is delicious.
So
Some more,
part
Jeff.
part of the
No.
collabs, we do collabs every month.
Oh my god.
Technically, the first one was with Ballast Point. The first one we did on our
And
own,
that one was fucking delicious.
and it's on the menu permanently. So if you're ever in Ballast Point in
Yes,
Long Beach, go check out
sir.
MashUp Ice Cream. It's on the menu.
Oh shit, that's dope.
Yeah, that shit's fire.
The first collab that we did on our own, where we really fleshed out like a collaborative effort and created these like videos and advertisements for this company called Pluto. They make really cool clothing and fashion and shit like that.
Fat.
When we were meeting with Jaden, who's the founder,
Worth it.
he was telling us like ideas of like, I like these flavors, I like this, blah blah blah, and like we were trying to create a flavor that really like encapsulated what his brand was. And we pitched him like 4 or 5 different ice creams, and one of the ones that we tried was a Sour Patch Kids ice cream. because he said that was his favorite ice cream.
Sour Patch Kids
Sour Patch
ice
Kids.
cream.
That does sound kind of
He
risky.
absolutely
Risky.
hated it. He thinks that's the worst thing we have ever made.
I knew it was gonna be a bad idea from the start, and like it didn't click for me at all. Like
Ice
fighting
cream.
my intuition.
Sour ice cream.
Yeah, it was just, to my mind, that sounds dumb, but we gave it a shot because we'll have these ideas, and there might be some pushback, but at the end of the day, we will try it. You know, if we can ice cream it, we'll ice cream it. You know.
Yeah.
So how'd it
you-
go?
Did you like it? Did you guys?
It was something.
It was edible.
Yeah,
sure.
it does sound like a sour ice cream. It's like Sour Patch Kids and ice cream. They're both delicious, but yeah, that's one of the ones that. But also at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, that's how you fucking figure it out.
I also didn't realize that when you are storing a Sour Patch ice cream with actual Sour Patch Kids in it, in negative 20-degree freezers, that when you chew on it, it feels like glass.
Oh fuck.
So
The
it
Sour
was
Patch was just hard as fuck.
Yeah,
It went
bro,
from,
it was really
uh,
hard to chew,
Sour Patch to like Jolly Rancher ice cream. Like
Bro, it
just
was
had
insane.
Jolly
Straight up.
Ranchers in there.
and he absolutely hated it. That's the first thing that comes to mind personally.
Growing up, like the ice cream man, like, you know, obviously we have raspados and stuff like that, but the ice cream man, my favorite was like strawberry shortcake, the one that has like that little that sprinkle stuff. You can't have
You
enough.
don't finish that?
You know, put it in the freezer. Damn, you bastard! I wanted to keep that one.
We got more for you. We got more.
But like my favorite one has always been strawberry shortcake, right? Do you guys like try to like pick flavors that you guys only like, or how do you guys get like inspiration to create flavors?
It's a little bit of both, really. I mean, I think, you know, Tony has a bigger sweet tooth than I do, and so like he sort of takes some of the lead on a lot of the flavors. But I think at the end of the day, we just try to make stuff that we like, and if it's good and it meets our like kind of criteria, it's like, okay, well, there's probably enough people out there that like will enjoy it as well and want to buy it, and so I think that's, to sum it up, the way we really go about the flavor stuff. And
Another thing that you wouldn't really think about, but we're very conscious of, is we're dropping 4 to 5 flavors a month, and we really take color into consideration. Like, we don't want to drop 4 different flavors that are all like brown or something. You know, we want 2 bright ones, 2
much
dark
brown.
ones. So, I mean, in a sense, we also do try to like come up with something with that in mind, which, you know, like challenges us, but it is something we keep in mind. So, what is something good that we like that also will stand out compared to the other flavors?
So when you guys say like, you know, you got a sweet tooth and you don't, so that means like you like any type of dessert, sweets, candies, and shit
Oh, yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Me too. I love it. So like, what would you enjoy then, as far as like a sweet or savory, like a chocolate, like a brownie, like a muff, like what would be your type of like sweets then, if you don't necessarily have a sweet tooth?
yeah, I mean, like, so the flavors that I really enjoy that we've made, probably my favorite is our s'more by the campfire. Like, that one is a very popular one, and it legitimately tastes like if you took s'mores and put it into an ice cream. I mean, we toast the marshmallows and really imbue it into the base, and then we toss in chunks of chocolate and then chopped up chunks of graham crackers, and that one is like, it's creamy and it has that full flavor. You get like that burnt kind of like marshmallow taste as well, and so that one's like the one that I really love and I enjoy. The ube one we call Purple Paradise is really great too. That, and a lot of people, especially in like, you know, that are like Latin or Spanish, like they're not really familiar with ube.
It's like a Filipino thing, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's a sweet purple yam, just like, you know, you know, your mom might make like regular yams with marshmallows on them. It's just like a sweet purple yam, but that one's like we did ube tres leches, so to kind of appeal to 2 different markets there, and that one is really great too. And Tony came up with that one. It's utterly fantastic. It's so delicious.
That is smart, because they do say that Filipinos are like the Mexicans of the Asians.
Yeah, they're like our cousins because we both got conquered by Spain like around the same time.
Yeah.
So we all have like similar last names and food, you know, like some similarities.
Raised similar. What would be one of your favorites? Like top 2, how you name like the s'mores and the ube one? Sour Patch Kids one?
He's really in deep thought right now. He's really thinking about it.
The little H.
Yeah, so I've talked to him about this. The first 2 flavors we made are s'more by the campfire, and kudos to him. I had my own idea for how I wanted the s'mores ice cream to come out, and I made it. He tried it, he liked it, but he said like it could be better. And that goes to the whole back and forth thing. Like, I presented my idea, he took elements from it, and then he like perfected it into what it eventually became.
Yeah.
And the second flavor we dropped was Little Havana. and that was a cheesecake ice cream with ribbons of like guava cream.
Wow.
Which, like, if you've ever been to Porto's and had like the guava cheese pastry, like that's what we were really trying to emulate.
Sick.
And until I started making ice cream, I would say that the best ice cream I ever had was a guava cream cheese ice cream from Miami, a place in Little Havana. And so I feel like that memory is so like ingrained in my head of something I love so much that as much as I love the version of it that I made, like I'm always going to compare it to like this unattainable like memory. So I would say that one is very like love-hate for me because I love it a lot, but it's like it's not what I remember it.
Yeah.
And then I would also probably say the Purple Paradise, the ube, is absolutely amazing.
Delicious.
Mm.
Would you guys ever like consider having like a staple flavor and like some way down the line, or like are you guys like, you know, like the s'mores or like the ube where like that shit always drops every release and then you have other ones, or you guys just, as far as right now, like just different flavors every time?
I don't know if we've talked about that personally. I have considered that. We haven't really talked about it as, you know, as a team. I would say that one thing that kind of satisfies that idea is the fact that we do have wholesale accounts. So there are like staple flavors that you can get. There's just a specific location that you have to go to get them. And I think that's one of the very many benefits of restaurants would have of partnering with us, is that we can collaborate to create a flavor that is exclusive to them. And it is also a way for both their customers and ours to have a staple flavor, you know?
So Ballast Point is one of them, right? Is there another restaurant like that you want to collab with that's ideal for your brand that kind of like mesh as well? Is somebody like off the top of your head that you know?
Or that you
Or
already
want?
have collabed with?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's really like there's not one in particular. I don't think we're really very open because
Hooters?
I'm down, you know,
Hell yeah.
down, you know, that goes into the other sort of hap that I don't think we've touched about or we touched upon yet is which is the collab. We've mentioned a little bit here, but you know, the whole concept with MashUp, as Tony alluded to before, is we want to do these collabs with other businesses that don't necessarily have to be food related, but for our outreach into the wholesale accounts, Ballast Point is really great. You know, they're like a brewery and they have, you know, great food and stuff like that. We're also working on an account for a pretty sizable hotel that's, you know, like an international hotel that we should be closing. I can't disclose too much yet, but should be closing that one pretty soon. And that's been great because once something like that is finalized, like that is a destination where travelers go and you know, they could try our ice cream there and that could be part of their memory of their trip to wherever they were headed, you know, and staying. But the collabs really with the wholesale accounts, like if you are a restaurant or if you know somebody who's a restaurant, like somewhere here in the LA area, you can get your own ice cream flavor made. It's made in tandem. We really take and understand like who that brand is, the people behind it, the inspiration, the values and goals that they have, and try to put it into a pint and put it into some flavor, and that becomes their, you know, staple. Can be part of their staple dessert. Like they don't obviously just have to serve the ice cream as is, but that also encourages our followers and other clients that, you know, are associated with our business to go out of their way to go to those restaurants and try our dessert. And that's a place where you can consistently get MashUp. And so it's part of that like whole long-term strategy part. But again, if you are a restaurant or a wholesaler, like some like that you know, a food bar, things like that, then, you know, we are open to working with you and you don't have to just be like, you know, a bar or something like that. If you sell food,
Come get mashed up. You
Come
know?
get mashed the fuck
Straight up.
dude.
And then
I like that.
Closing remarks
mashed
on
up.
that is to kind of highlight how collaborative the effort is. Our collaboration with Ballast Point, they have a very popular beer called Victory at Sea. It's a stout that they make with their beans, and they also sell those beans. So the Victory at Sea ice cream flavor that we made with them is we use those same beans that they use to brew that beer to create an ice cream flavor. So
It's like coffee beans.
yeah, so it's very collaborative. It's very unique to whatever you want to be. So
What does it go with? Is it just like the ice cream or?
I mean, at that point, it depends on what the restaurant wants to do, but they put it on a chocolate lava cake, some ice cream on top, some caramel, some powdered sugar.
Yeah.
What about like being the official like ice cream for Downey Pizza Hut, the Pizookie? What is it? Or
the
He's-
BJ's.
BJ's.
Yeah,
BJ's? Yeah.
He's got to get on that one. He loves
Yeah,
Downey.
that
fire.
Pizooki's
Pizookie,
crazy.
that's
Yeah.
fire.
So fucking good. There's no reason being that good.
Like I
dog.
said, I'm not a sweet tooth, but that Pizookie will have me going crazy, bro.
That's what I said. That Pizookie.
It's
dog.
my birthday every time I go to BJ's because that
Same.
Pizookie is fucking
Hey,
crack.
think about the name like BJ's and Pizookies. Like who? The owner must
Who
be a
doesn't want
pervert. He's a
BJ's
fucking
and ice
pervert,
cream and
dog.
cookies?
That's
That
hilarious.
shit is delicious.
I did see on I think on your page or the MashUp page something about like Workspace, right? There's like a place called Workspace.
Yeah, Work PS.
Yeah, tell us more about that. What does that involve?
That was another collab we did with another friend that we went to high school with that started a co-working space.
Mario Abrego.
His whole idea was that he wanted to bring like a WeWork kind of thing outside of the metropolitan city area because there's a lot of people in the suburbs that are really talented that maybe don't have the means to have their own office space, that don't want to drive, 1-2 hours in traffic every day, and he wanted to give them a space where they could be creative and explore and like follow their dreams and whatnot. And before that was like incepted, they started out as like a coffee bar. So they kept that when they started the co-working space. And so their most popular drink is the strawberry matcha. So when we collaborated with them, we turned that drink into an ice cream, which was a strawberry matcha.
Sick.
So hypothetically, you guys seen some of the clips, seen a little bit, whatever. Me and you know each other. You guys are part of the family. You're on the podcast. What flavor do you think a lit outlet ice cream would be?
Probably an alcoholic one.
100%.
A drunken bastard. A drunken bastard. Fucking
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Honestly,
when you say that.
You know what I've been into? Because when I was really young, I've always loved like super chocolatey, super cheesecake, whatever the most extreme sweet. I have this extreme sweet tooth, but as I gotten
If
older,
you can't tell.
yeah, it never left me. I have the worst metabolism. But as I gotten older, like I kind of like started to enjoy vanilla and stuff like that. But I've also like rebounded back. I'm really into Coca-Cola slushies right now at the movies. Like every time I go to the movies, I get a Coca-Cola slushie, and I would never get that, dog. And it's just something like as I get older. So to me, it's got to be like a Coke ice cream.
Of all the slushies, Coca-Cola.
I
you
know
go get
it's
blue
weird.
or red.
I
or
used to.
sour
I used
or
to mix.
something.
I used to get blue and red mixed. But as I got older, the Coca-Cola just hits different, and then it melts and it kind of turns into a cold ass soda at the end. Come on, dog.
Best of both worlds.
So I think a Coca-Cola ice cream that would be my vote. What about you? What would you make?
I don't know. Whatever he said, the alcoholic one, not a Coca-Cola.
Can you put alcohol in ice cream?
I've
can,
made
yeah.
a wine ice cream before.
Oh shit!
How did that turn out?
Winey.
Yeah.
Or you can make a tequila. Can you make a tequila ice cream?
Yeah.
Like
You-
a mangoneada with tequila?
Yeah, you can
Like a
like that was
margarita ice
actually
cream?
one of so for the current collab that will be the wholesale account that we'll be working with. One of the flavors, sort of last minute, that Tony just brought out of the cooler just to try for just to try it. We did something called mango cart, which is a mango infused with tahini and chamoy. And this place themselves had the idea of using that as a dessert to go with some kind of tequila. And so like alcohol ice cream totally exists. It's not where we probably specialize in, but we could like that. It is doable.
Try
And
to see what happens.
yeah, it poses its own challenges, but it could definitely, there's something there for sure.
It might turn into like a Sour Patch Kids ice cream or something like that.
a bunch of drunk ass people. Growing up, were you guys in Downey and Bellflower? There's raspado guys, right? Raspado. Man.
Yeah.
What was your raspado like choice to go? Like, what was your main pick? Your best flavor, favorite flavor?
Honestly, I leaned more towards the ice cream truck, and my go-to order was always the snowstorm.
The fucking snowstorm is.
Is that the snow cone?
The snow is cookies,
It was the
and
cookies
cream.
and cream in a
Cookies
cup.
and cream, like in a
Yeah.
little tube shit with a little wooden spoon.
Yep.
Oh shit, the Oreo one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the
The
fact
blue
that you
one.
called it a snowstorm too. God damn
Sick,
that.
dog.
Yes,
that is
sir.
a classic. Or honestly, it was that or a UFO for me on Ice Cream Man.
UFO.
Other than the strawberry shortcake, but the UFOs used to go hard too.
What about you?
I would do like if I'm doing those, I do like the limon flavor just because like I'm more of a savory sour type guy. But my go-to for the ice cream truck, I don't even know what the fuck it's called, but it's the little like it's vanilla, but it's got streaks of chocolate in it, and you take the wooden
Little
spoon.
cone or whatever.
No, it comes in like a little,
It's a
like
little
mini,
sundae.
like a
Oh,
mini,
yeah,
like
the
yeah,
sundae,
a little
the
sundae,
sundae.
yeah,
Little
yeah,
Little
exactly.
see-through plastic cups
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And that it's just a classic flavor. I love that. Just mop it up, easy. Those are delicious. I love those.
What about you, Jeff? What did you go for?
Snowstorm for show.
I thought you were gonna say like the Stone Cold one, the WWE one.
All the same. They're all the same. All their eyes are just fucking ding ditties.
You know what I tried once, and I know a lot of people like it. I wasn't really a fan. I want to get your guys' opinions. Is the Choco Taco?
I love the Choco Taco.
Not for me, dog.
Yeah, it was not for me either.
Choco
Nah,
Taco
we're
was
Choco
my
Taco.
that
Choco
was
Taco is fire.
one of my go-tos.
They stopped making it.
They did.
I heard
It was
that.
trash.
Nah, that shit good as hell.
You know what a gansito is?
Yes.
Okay.
Lies.
I
No.
think
What is it?
a gansito is a Mexican Twinkie, but instead of it being like
There's like some guava in there.
yellow,
right?
it's chocolate, right?
Okay.
But inside it has like a strawberry or guava like filling, and then they sell it like a Twinkie. But all Mexicans know the real hack is you're supposed to put it in the freezer, and then it gets hard like an ice cream Snickers kind of.
Those are amazing.
Ice cream
Gancitos,
Snickers are fire.
and the gansito's like a little duck. But yeah, that would be a good flavor. I'm just suggesting.
So what was your favorite off the ice cream truck?
The strawberry shortcake was my go-to because they were like super cheap. They're like 50 cents or
Like
a
the
dollar.
bar or whatever?
Yeah, the one
Yeah,
with the
that one's
stick.
fire.
Classic.
Super
That was
good.
fire.
But a snowstorm or a UFO, because I think back then the UFOs or snowstorms were like $2, and I was like, oh, that's expensive, dog. Like
So
you gotta,
175. You got to have some walking around money.
yeah,
for that.
you gotta like you have to have your fucking your domingo and shit, like your weekly what is it called when people
Your allowance?
Yeah, your
Yeah.
allowance.
Then the ice cream, what was the UFO? It's like an ice cream sandwich?
It's like 2 cookies and then it's like vanilla inside and it's like dipped in chocolate.
Like an ice cream sandwich kind of thing? Ice cream sandwich, it's like kind of hard to fuck up. To
That's-
like fuck up like an ice cream sandwich.
That's something that we've been thinking about.
That would be
we
fire.
want to do is like, because we already make the ice cream. All we got to do is just add
Get some
like some
cookies.
kind of cookie to it. So yeah, I mean that if people want to give some feedback, DM us if you need that. We'll make it
You
happen.
got that? I mean,
Would you guys make it as like an ice cream or make an actual like
we would
ice
make it
cream
as an
sandwich?
actual, probably
Oh,
sell them like
fuck,
little
yeah.
like packets of
3-pack.
something like that.
That would
but
be crack.
Have you guys ever been to Cookie Plug?
Yes.
Oh my
I'm,
god, Cookie Plug and MashUp together, dog. Sheesh, that
Where's
shit
Cookie
will
Plug?
go hard.
It's a cookie spot. They have one in Whittier. They have one in like Anaheim. They have a
but
couple
look,
of
you
them.
can walk in there and it's just a bunch of mugshots. They got Suge Knight, they got Snoop Dogg, they got Pablo Escobar. It's like super hip hop.
You know
What do those have to do with cookies?
You know,
The plug, Cookie Plug, is like they're
I-
selling drugs. The drug plug.
I like Cookie Plug. I think it's really good, and honestly, I order it pretty often. The
cookies are so good.
What we were talking about, though, I feel like it's a lot of pandering, to be honest. I don't like the
very
whole
niche.
the whole vibe of it. The cookies are good, but I don't like the aesthetic personally.
I used to do the graffiti when I was little, so I like the logo, the lettering. Like I like that old school, like New York style, but also like the Suge Knight and then the like what do they call the mugshots? It's a little too much.
all of a
sell
sudden, now
But I
that
know I do have one. Right
all of a sudden,
mugshot.
we have a mugshot
No,
in our
you-
fucking background.
You haven't been there, dog. It's like the whole.
he
it's
just
the
fell
whole
to he just
theme.
fell victim to the marketing.
Bro, they
He was
sell
like, "Yeah, I was in jail. Give me that cookie."
they sell a lemonade and they call it like purple drink. Like it's very pandering.
And they give it to
I
you
don't-
in a baby bottle.
Yeah, I don't
like
like
how you
it.
drink lean. You're supposed to drink lean and shit.
Really?
in a baby bottle.
That's a little
Good
too much.
cookies though. I'm not gonna lie.
Cookies are
Good
so good,
cookies,
dog.
yeah.
Oh my god, those cookies are the.
Have you
death.
ever been to Sweet Jill's over like on Second in Belmont Shore? It's
Never
like a
have I
little,
ever.
like bakery or
You trying
whatever.
to take me
like,
or what?
Hell yeah, what's up? I'll give you some Sweet Jill's. Bro, fire. Like they got like fire ass cinnamon rolls. I don't know if they had ice cream. I never had it because I always get the cinnamon rolls. But they have like chocolate brittle, like all this shit. They close at like fucking 2 or 3 or something like that. But like if you go there in the morning when they just make it,
All right, let's do a quick.
punch your dad in the face.
We got a minute left on this second round. We'll do another one. We're gonna do another one for sure. We got more questions. This or that, okay? Yum Yum Donuts or Wind Chills?
Winchell's.
Yum.
Ooh.
I go
Yum, yum.
What's your donut order?
Donut holes.
Donut holes?
Donut holes all day.
Damn.
Easy to eat. You get a bunch of them. Pop those suckers back. You
You
know.
can take a break, put some away.
Yeah.
Cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll is fire.
What about you?
Probably a cinnamon roll or a bear claw or something.
Oh, my dad loves bear claws.
Bear claws are
Bear
fire.
claws go crazy. That's for sure.
I like
More of a
Ja-
Randy's guy though.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's a new Randy's in Downey, right?
Their Nutella donut is insane. It's
What?
Nutella though, you know.
Nutella donut?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. They do make crazy
Nutella
donuts.
anything. I'll eat
Their blueberry donut, their cake donut is amazing.
I'll eat some Nutella. I don't care. Just put Nutella on it. I'll eat it.
PG-13, dog. I'm taking that out. 30
I'll
seconds.
still eat it.
Dunkin' Donuts?
No,
You're like, no. but you went to school on the East Coast. It's not a big thing over there?
it's terrible.
It doesn't run on Dunkin' over there?
It does, but not very efficiently.
Damn. Are you guys coffee guys?
Strictly black.
Black?
Yeah.
So no Starbucks.
3 a day.
No Starbucks, no tea leaf. Or
Yeah,
whatever
I'll
it's
just
called?
get black coffee.
Just like my women.
Sick.
We'll edit that out. I have a question for you guys. A little bit of backstory. So one thing that I've realized since we started this business is the fact that, you go into it thinking you make ice cream and then you realize like you have to do bookkeeping, you have to do accounting. Like we're now doing commercials where we have to be writers, directors. Sometimes we act in them, and like there's so much more that has gone into the business now that we're like doing it and trying to like create this vision and whatnot, that I want to ask you guys, like, how have you experienced that with your podcast and like kind of having to wear every single different hat, you know, to make sure that it becomes what you want it to be?
I love making podcasts. I love hanging out with Jeff and being funny and like, you know, shooting this shit and sharing it with our friends, right? That's the easy part. Like probably maybe making the ice cream for you guys is probably the easy part. Tasting is the easy part. You know, behind the scenes, like as a content creator and a business owner, like sometimes you get lost in like the statistics or the numbers or the sales, right? The conversion rate or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes that shit feels lonely as fuck. Like you tried so hard to make a clip or you post this and that and you're not getting the engagement or whatever you feel like you deserve, and it's hard not to beat yourself up over it about it too. Beat yourself up about it, right? So like I feel like sometimes you just gotta remember that like if 50 people or 5 people like your shit, that's still a lot of people. You know, sometimes you get lost in the numbers and you want to try to compare yourself. Like I forget who says it, like something like comparing yourself to others is like the death of creativity or whatever.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. And that's true, dog. That's true. Like whenever you try to compare yourself to like, or me to other podcasts or bigger channels, that I like to study people who are doing it on a bigger scale and try to like micro it to us. But sometimes like it kind of backfires and it kind of takes away from the joy or the coolness or like the whole like prestige of your own brand, you know, like because building a brand is tough. A lot of people think it's like easy and cool and, oh, he must be making a lot of money and like, but it's honestly very, very fucking hard to do. But what do you think, Jeff?
Well, I just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, as far as like when you guys said, because it's just you two doing like all that shit, right? And that's kind of like us, but at the end of the day too, like none of this shit works without him. So he does like all the behind the scenes shit. He does all that, the editing, the audio, all that shit. So like, and this was, you know, his shit. And then I came on and I took it in as mine as well, but just in a different way as far as like just, you know, saying outlandish shit on camera or anything like that and doing all that. But also like since I was like in middle school, high school or whatever, like I've always wanted like attention and always been like a big people person. So as far as like the networking or the word of mouth or putting it out there, like I feel like I do that part. I carry that load, but everything like that. But yeah, like without him, like none of this shit works. He's the one who does like all the behind the scenes shit and like makes it happen. I just come here, get lit and say crazy shit and it just works. But in a way, like, you know, it works as a balance. And yeah, just, you know, just going off like what he said as far as like, you know, I think Teddy Roosevelt said it, like comparison is a thief of joy. As far as like you could compare, you know, in the book of life, you can compare your chapter 12 to someone's chapter 47 and just be like, why the fuck am I not like that? Like, why am I not there yet? But at the end of the day, like you're only on chapter 12. Like your 47 will get there and you'll look back at your chapter 12 and just be like, oh. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, just be in the moment and just enjoy it and just have fun. Sometimes it's going to work. Sometimes it doesn't. But also, you know, just how I love kicking it with him, even though we argue like an old married couple all the time, on and off camera. Yep. And it gets crazy. And this asshole knows how to get like under my skin. But it's just crazy. But I love him to death. At the end of the day, I love doing this shit. Like, I love it. It's so fun. Just like how you guys love, you know, just being together and making the ice cream and not even just the ice cream, it's just the stories behind it and the creativity and all that. And like the business comes with it and it sucks. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's like, that's what you have to do. It just is what it is. But also, you know, like you're putting in work for yourselves as opposed to putting in the same stressful, monotonous bullshit work for somebody else. Now you're doing it for yourself. So like, as long as you keep doing it. And as far as music, just companies like art, comedy, anything like that, if the product is good, the cream rises to the top. So as long as you keep putting in the work and keep putting in the product and making sure the product is good, you'll have your day. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but it'll happen.
How do you guys get through like low moments and like whatever it is, like maybe not selling enough cups getting stuck or the highs and lows? Like how do you guys get through like as far as like your day-to-day tasks or like maybe the psychology behind being an entrepreneur?
And also, side question. Have you guys ever like not sold out?
Yeah, we've had times where we haven't sold out. Some of that's due to like we just made a mistake and made too much, but some of it is also due to like, yeah, there just weren't enough buyers, you know, for that time. And that's the thing. I mean, Remind me again your previous question.
Like, how do you get through the highs and lows?
Yeah,
of
the
business?
highs and lows. Yeah. So like, I think like you guys are touching upon, like, yeah, it helps a tremendous amount when you don't compare yourself to other people, because you really have to just stay focused on you, and we try to not want to be like a traditional ice cream company, so we're not even looking in that direction a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But we try to just, like we were saying before, is consistency is a real big key here, and that is not just for like business, but just for life. Like, if you're doing something and you show up, people will show up for you. And like, for example, it takes a lot of like thought and energy and creativity to try to develop some of these like short stories, like 30 seconds, 1 minute, 30-second type things. And yeah, sometimes we don't get like a crazy amount of likes or views or whatever. When I see that happening, I just think to myself, okay, this was just one thing I put out. It's not the whole piece. It's not the whole canvas that is done here yet. And so I think it's really helpful to just remind yourself that this is a process. If you're starting a business and you're just getting into it, or you're going through it and it's been, 5 years down the line and you still haven't hit there. I mean, it always reminds me of that little meme you see of like there's like two miners, and there's one on top and one on the bottom, and the one is like
The gold.
yeah, like
The
the
diamonds.
diamonds are right like a little inch away, and like the
He
top
quits.
guy, the top guy quits, and the guy on the bottom, just who's persistent and wants to keep on doing it, is about to hit, strike gold, and strike the diamonds or whatever. And it's that mentality. And it's like, for me personally, I've learned that from my cousin Chris, who I work for right now. We have a mattress store in West LA, a mattress home and style, and we do a lot of luxury mattress. And he started off with like scrap savings, the kind of crummiest product on the market, and now over the course of almost 10 years, he's built that company into 2 stores where it's like the most premium product when it comes to sleep that you can get. And like, I learned a lot of that. Consistency is key from him, because he's just such a great entrepreneur in that mindset, always learning, always growing. And yeah, he has this, up downs and, great period, just like we all do in business and in life. But that consistency is so important, and it's even more important if you know somebody who's doing something, that you show up for them and give that like, or like recommend them, that word of mouth that goes an even long
Long way.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what really carries small business. I mean, small business, I hate to sound cliche, but it really is the heart of America, the backbone of America.
Yeah.
And to be there for your friends in that situation. Like, we've had a ton of great support from people we know, people we don't know, our clients who've turned into friends. And that is such an essential part about it. It's like, life is a two-way street. So you got to go one way, and your friends got to help you out one way, and another, in that sense as well.
And it is kind of like that too, because like I've done it before. We're all human. Where you see it, where you're just kind of like, oh, this person's overnight celebrity, overnight like success and all this shit. But like, you didn't see the 10 years that they put in of grinding and struggling and having to fucking eat hot dog sandwiches every night because they put their money into all this shit. You just see like, oh, this motherfucker came out of nowhere, like, oh, I could do that, I can do that. And you're like, no, you can't. And if you can, you would do it. But at the end of the day, you just keep fucking pushing forward. You just got to keep moving. Like, I'm sure you guys have maybe heard it too, but I've heard it. I'm sure he's heard it, where people like, oh, yeah, you got your little podcast. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. And now, like, we're not doing crazy numbers, but we're doing numbers. And people know about it. And I've had people come up to me, at least at Ballast, and just be like, don't you have a podcast or something? Because they just see it, like, on the Explore page.
Yeah.
And, like, this is just the beginning, like, just the groundwork and stuff like that, where it's just like, yeah, so you just... Like you said, that's a perfect analogy of like the miner with the diamonds, and the guy that's right there just quit. And he said, no, I'm good. But the guy that has all this way to the diamond is just keep grinding and keep pushing. And then, like, you'll succeed. As long as you just keep doing it, you'll succeed.
Absolutely. You have anything to add, my man?
Yeah,
I hope so.
What keeps me motivated, I would say that I've never really been a person that was super obsessed with like status or money or like aesthetic things, I guess. I've always been a person that very much values
It's a simple man.
having someone to lean on, I think I get that from having a big family, seeing my parents and being able to lean on their siblings and like other family members and stuff. So I feel that same kind of ability to lean when I'm feeling down on like Anthony or our videographer Eric, who does amazing work. He does all of our commercials, all of our skits, things like that. If I ever feel like an idea isn't really where it needs to be, I feel like I have comfort knowing that I have him to be able to, help edit with things. I have Eric, who can bring to life like certain visions that we have that we necessarily can't do on our own. But I feel like whenever I get down, having that support system is always a big help for me, because I'm not really looking to necessarily make the most money, but I do definitely want to build someone with people I care about.
Absolutely, yeah.
Relatively speaking, like compared to a lot of people, you guys are young entrepreneurs, right? Young people in business.
How old are you guys, by the way?
25.
25, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, I'm 32 and I feel old as fuck. But compared to, like, there's people that are 70 and have their small businesses. Like, we're pretty young when it comes to like this business world. What are some of the things that you wish you learned sooner that's like really helpful in this type of lifestyle, I guess you would call it?
Yeah, I would say, like, as boring as it sounds, you really do have to have some kind of like financial literacy, and you don't have to go too in depth. Just learn the basic stuff. That's gonna like put you far up ahead of like a lot of small entrepreneurs. But I would say the most important thing after that is be able to build a team. Like, have, like Tony's talking about, have somebody to lean on. But it goes even further than that. Is like, if I started this business by myself, there's no way in hell I could have done it like on my own. Like, yeah. I have a day job. I mean, I just work a lot, and I'm young, but I get tired, man. Like, I'm tired all the time, and so like, having a team, like, don't just pick like, your best friend or the person, this or that, or like, do some real thinking and like try to find people that have the same value and mindset as you. And a lot of times, especially younger people, all kind of grow up in these like little cliques, and like there's, the cool kids turn into like, the regular Joe Schmoes doing this or that. But like, if you take the time to look through your network and like, find people that are moving away from all the dumb stuff you learned as a kid and into, how do I, like, I'm trying to grow myself and build who I am, in my case, like, be the man that I want to be, or be the woman that you want to be, is really like super key. And finding somebody like that is going to help elevate you. Like, I can't do this without Tony, and he just so happens to be my, one of my best friends, and I love him to death, and I count on him for anything. I mean, that's life or death. And so it worked out for us. It's not going to be like that for everybody, but and I would honestly kind of advise, don't always get into business with your friend, because oftentimes there's just different conflicts of interest there and stuff like that. But building a team is super important.
Yeah, and it's like you said, like, don't always, because I have some people that I fucking love, like my brothers. I would never do fucking any type of business with them or anything. And just, kind of like piggybacking on what you said as far as like, building a team and everything. Like, I'd like to think that, like, we wouldn't be doing the success I am, me and him, without me. I damn sure couldn't do this without him. So it just kind of bounces off that. Just like how you said the whole, I think it was the s'mores ice cream, where you thought you had it down packed, and then he was like, just tweak it a little bit. And it's kind of like just that brainstorming, feeding off each other. That definitely works. And some people think like, I can just do this by myself. But once you start getting into it, you're like, oh, I can't do this by myself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes some people's egos will get in the way, and then it just never takes off, whatever they want to do.
What about you? What is something that you think you wish you learned sooner?
I would say I wish that I had just went for it sooner. I think for a lot of people, myself included, like, it's a lot easier for our egos to convince ourselves that we didn't do something because we didn't try, as opposed to trying and failing and knowing for a fact that you couldn't do it. And going back to the fact that I've known I wanted to do something with ice cream since like 2018-ish. When I had those ideas that I brought to him that weren't fully fleshed out yet, and he was like, no, it's not right. At the time, it was a lot easier for me to be like, okay, I won't even try, because the idea is not there, so I fail. As opposed to now, when we had something we were confident about and we just went for it, and we're building it, we're doing it currently, and like, it's working, like, I wish I had that belief in myself earlier to just try, and even if it didn't work, find out for myself, I think other people should do that, because I'm still young. Like you said, I'm 25, but had I done this in 2018 when I was like 19, 20 years old, like, who knows where we would be now, So that's just time lost for no reason.
But the fact that you finally, because you guys are 7 years younger than us, you know what I mean? So, like, the fact that you guys got on it at 25, and that, at your age, you might think like, oh, if I would have started this then and there, like, you still got a hell of a jump on a lot of people as far as like just going in and going like for your dreams and everything. But also, like, Do you guys see yourself? Because I can see it, but do you guys see yourself, or do you even want to be like distributed, like in stores next to the dryers, next to the Ben and Jerry's, anything like that? Do you guys ever have like full granular plans of that, or do you guys just want to keep it as far as like a craft kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, I suspect I'm speaking for both of us in the sense that like we want to get to that point. We want to be a big, huge national brand. And
I can see that for sure.
You know, yeah, and just be like a household name, you know, and like there's a road that we see to that, and we do have a vision for it, and it will come as it comes. I mean, as much as I am that like type A personality, like I mentioned before, I am a believer in things will occur as they need to in the time that they have to. And so like we'll follow that path as it comes, and we're gonna build up the groundwork right now to kind of propel us to be in that position down the line. Like, I know we've talked about already, like thinking about selling the company, you know, at X millions of dollars. When we get to that point, like, would we be comfortable doing that? Yes, but obviously we got to get to that point first. But yeah, we've talked about those bigger, grander plans and whatnot, and there's a road for sure to travel down. It just takes time, and you really just got to put in all the work right now. And to your point too, I mean, like, and I appreciate you saying that, like, yeah, to some degree we are like young entrepreneurs, but like there's even younger kids than us that are doing, you know, making all these millions of dollars on doing whatever the heck it might be, you know, crypto or this or that or some kind of like, you know, whatever it is, you know, but, you know, and that's cool. And I think especially a lot of young men, you know, see a lot of that stuff and they internalize that, and it sort of hurts them or irks them. And even if you're older and you're seeing that, it's like, if you find something, like just focus on you, and if you have a goal or a passion for something, work on that, because you can turn your passions into like a viable business or a viable like lifestyle for yourself. And I think like a lot of young men are really struggling with trying to find their identity and who they are. And you know, there's all these different like personality types on the internet trying to promote like, you know, just be more of who you are, like increase your masculinity, and try to, you know, there's that element of developing or fighting like against that, like, you know, like your machismo is like fighting against it, but also like trying to lean into it. But there's that struggle where, yeah, I mean, we just started this. We're not doing anything crazy yet, but we know we will. And that's, I think, an attitude that, you know, if you have a passion for something, you got to maintain. Tony's really like lit that fire underneath me, is where, you know, we're doing something cool, like lean into it, like be about it. And that's who you are. Just like you guys do with the podcast. Like, this is your passion, and that's like, you were standing, like you put your feet down, and this is who you are. And you show people, like, you know, yourselves, and you broadcast it out into the world. It takes a lot of bravery to do something like that. And that is, you know, such is life, and that is business. It's like, it is, you know, kind of warfare. Like, a lot of people think starting a business is like rainbows and smiles and it's all happy dandy. It is not that at all.
It's probably the opposite. It's more like it is. I think you said it's like a war.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and especially if you
10,000 rats.
100. Yeah, I mean, if
it's like a war against yourself plus everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can be like your biggest enemy, and that's the thing. Like, if one thing I might recommend too is, if you're, you know, an entrepreneur, man or woman, and like thinking about starting a business, get into sales, because I'm the antithesis of a people person. Like, I do not like to be around a lot of people, but I'm in sales, and like that's really, like, sales is where you learn psychology, you learn how to persuade, you learn how to speak, you learn a lot about what it is to be a consumer, and how to like sell a product. And so that's one piece of advice. Whatever, like, get into selling, sell anything. If you could, you know, try to be one of those people, you can sell ice to an Eskimo type thing. Like, you get that down, and you'll be way up ahead against a lot of people, for sure.
I agree 100%. Are you guys big into like a routine or habits, or like some habits that you can maybe not tell right away that are helpful as being an entrepreneur, or maybe something that like subconsciously helps you, you know, like reading before going to sleep at a certain time, like
waking up at 4 a.m. and making your bed every single day.
What are some of like the like, I think they call them like atomic habits that are really like beneficial for young entrepreneurs?
Personally, I don't like to get caught up in like a certain specific vision of what like success is supposed to be. This is another reason why I love having Anthony as a partner so much, is I feel like he's so well spoken and does a very good job articulating, you know, like, and speaking and things of that nature, that I've always been the type of person that leaned into the fact that intelligence doesn't look one specific way. When I was in middle school, I got made fun of by the vice principal at my school for hanging around with kids that didn't look smart, and he was genuinely surprised that I was an honor roll kid. So I very much internalized the fact that like people will expect a certain type of behavior or image from someone that's quote unquote smart. So as a young adult, I've kind of very heavily tried to lean in the opposite direction, to kind of get people to think that I wasn't smart, kind of like surprise them, things like that. I prefer that, to be honest. That's another reason why I'm not very like spoken in, I guess, public settings, things like that. I prefer to stick to myself. But going back to the whole atomic habit things, I don't feel like there's a certain agenda that someone needs to follow every single day to be successful. I feel like it's okay to take things a day at a time and as they come. I'm not the biggest like traditional meditator, I would say. I think my form of meditation is waking up and drinking a coffee and kind of just prepping for the day. I don't think there's anything wrong with that specifically.
Not at all.
And that's not to say there's nothing wrong with like people that do have routine and habits. I think it's very personalized, and as long as someone can find what works for them, then you're on the right track.
Absolutely.
I still don't like how you came for me like that, because I'm outspoken, so that means I'm dumb. You're not wrong. but
He's completely right.
But as far as you mentioned it a couple times, you were saying like personality type A, like is like type B kind of like me or like some other people who are just very like outspoken.
What are the types? What are the types?
Attention needing. Yeah, like what are the other types of
I mean,
personalities?
I don't know the types. I just know that there's that saying type A is this way, and then everybody else is type B or whatever. But like,
It's very type A.
you're a
of
very
him.
articulate. You're a very articulate,
exactly.
intelligent person. Wait, what'd you say?
He said that's very type A of him.
Very type A.
Even the way you explained it.
Yeah, you're a very articulate, intelligent, like very like.
I can't even describe it
your
like
thoughts together.
All of them, I'm like, damn, this food talks good.
Yeah, you're very well spoken.
I can't even say it like smartly. Like,
I'm
oh,
a
he's so-
Neanderthal.
yeah.
no, then it's working because you'll hear the words that I'm saying and it sounds one way, but when you really listen to it, it's
You
dust
said a whole lot of
It's
nothing.
dust in
There's
the
a
wind.
whole
Yeah.
lot. There's a whole lot of big words.
And that is
I'm
why
the antithesis.
He like he lulls you to sleep and then just gets you. Oh.
When you play it slow motion, it sounds like, oh, you thought I was feeling you.
That's another reason why I don't like LinkedIn, to be honest. I don't like people portraying themselves in a certain image so that
Yeah.
people can think they're respectable or like intelligent and stuff. I
Yeah.
think like
Super button up.
I think the merits of what people do and like their vision and how they execute that should be able to speak for itself,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I like the way you put it right there, button up. There are those type AAA personalities, if I'll put it that way, where they are button up people
Tow your
and like,
car.
what's that?
And they tow your car.
Oh, absolutely.
Triple
So-
A.
oh, that went over my dumbass head.
All right, I'm done.
But there are those people, and like I feel like some like when I see those kinds of people, it really just irks me, and it's like, what are you doing? Just do good business, just do good stuff, and like good stuff will happen to you, and like
They're like trying too hard.
yeah, and like you really don't have to like try that hard, like and nobody should think that they have to be that kind of person to like succeed, because a lot of that stuff is just it's hollow at the end of the day, and it's like that's not
performative.
what absolutely is performative. That's the perfect word for it. It really
Nice.
is. They're just putting on a costume and it's sort of like fake it till you make it, but a lot of those people don't make it.
I know. I just gave a whole thing about like not comparing yourself to others.
Sure.
But do you have like certain people that you look up to in business that you like? Like for example, I like Gary Vee. I like the guy from Valuetainment, Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
They do great interviews, and Patrick Bet David is like, I don't know if I could ever become him, but his interview style and everything, I really like. I enjoy enjoying watching the content. But is there someone like kind of close to you guys look up to?
Yeah, I mean, close to me, nothing really comes to mind. I think a lot of those, popular, entertainment type, business people you see on the internet, like Gary Vee, like Patrick Bet David, and just I think, nobody stands out as an individual, but I think it's important to expose your mind to those kinds of people. Like even if you lean one way in terms of a political spectrum, like expose yourself to the opposite end, and a lot of those individuals you might like just have a certain perspective of, but when you really take the time to listen to them, you don't have to like, you filter the stuff out that you don't need to hear, but you can learn a lot from people like those characters. And I think the biggest resource that I have is I spend a lot of time on YouTube just watching random stuff. I mean, I know random stuff that just doesn't need to be in my brain, but it is also in the same compartment as that kind of content. It's like you watch that kind of content and you'll learn the basics of what it is to like run a decent business and learn how to like just be a better person as a whole. One quick thing I do want to say, maybe with respect to like inspiration, is probably Jenny, like we mentioned before, of Jenny's Splendid Ice Creams. I think she's an incredible woman. We had a chance to meet her at like a Tyler meetup when she did a collab with Tyler the Creator, who's also another one of our big inspirations. But I do like touching upon the fact that Jenny's is a huge woman-owned business, and I think that's very inspiring. And I think a lot of times maybe the audience is primarily male, but I think it's super important to highlight the fact that a lot of times women want to be entrepreneurs and they get a lot of pushback, or like they don't know, they're not taken seriously. And I think as men, we should really start to encourage more of that. And I love seeing like women entrepreneurs and come up and just show people up and do great things. I think that's super important to highlight. And there's a lot of there are also like women entrepreneurs that we can learn a lot from, like a lot of the Barbara, I forget her last name, from Shark Tank, like or like Oprah. Like you've seen like the stories that these women have had, and they've built great and amazing businesses and have done amazing things as a consequence of like just staying focused and not caring about what the industry or people were saying about them. But sorry to kind of digress. I just think it's an important point to make.
No. Shout out to the ladies.
Yeah, no, I agree. As a man, sometimes like your ego takes over, whatever, you want to listen to the girls, whatever. But you're right. Like you could definitely learn a lot from these business. Like that girl from Shark Tank, Deborah, what's her name?
Barbara Corcoran.
Barbara, dude, she's a real shark. Dog.
She's a shark. Yeah,
she's a real fucking shark. Like she has this thing where like she only like she tells everyone yes, and then no matter what you ask her, the third time you ask her for something, it's gonna be a no. Like it's just a psychology way how she feels with her employees, like mentally and shit. And it's like she has like this crude like business style, which I kind of think is super gangster and shit. Like I like that shit.
But so before we head out of here, if you guys want to plug anything you guys need, websites, Instagrams, tell everybody anything, look into the camera, and the floor is all yours.
Yeah, or tell us what's next for
Tell
MashUp.
us what's next going on with MashUp, anything and everything.
MashUp's going to revolutionize what you guys think it can mean to be an ice cream company. If you want to follow us, check us out on Instagram, MashUp Ice Cream Co. If you want to order some ice cream, join the newsletter, keep up to date, www.mashupicecream.com. And just be on the lookout. A lot of great things coming. Very exciting. And thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for having us on.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for
guys.
bringing the ice cream. That shit was delicious.
Of
Dude,
course.
that what is the cinnamon toast crunch one called?
Yeah,
The
that's
cereal,
mine.
cereal milk.
That
yeah.
one's mine.
I need some of that, dog.
You get
some.
none of it.
You fucking asshole.
And if you guys would be excited, a little lit outlet collab flavor.
100%.
I'm
Hell
down
yeah.
for something like that.
we'll
Try it
figure
sometime.
that out.
Let us know.
Figure that
Hell
out.
yeah, dropping soon. We'll probably do some merch with it too. That shit will be hard.
If you guys got any comments or anything, what you think a lit outlet ice cream should taste like, let us know. We might listen, we might not. Who knows?
Yeah, thank you for watching. Catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks.